We are having a football party this afternoon. It's called a Browns football party. I am not a sports person at all. In fact, football is like the absolute worst sport to me. I like to go to a baseball game occasionally. I like to golf, although I won't watch it on TV. And I do love basketball to a point, but nothing more. If I miss a game, I'm going to have like a meltdown or something. But I do enjoy having the folks over for the football games and basketball watch parties and things like that. I don't watch the game. Us girls usually go and find something fun to do, like hair and makeup or something like that. But today I thought I would make a little dessert. They're all going to pitch in on pizza. And I made this dessert yesterday for a clam bake that we were performing at, and it went like lickety split. People love this. It is so delicious. My mom used to make it. It's called frog's eye salad. That's the name she gave it anyway. And I kind of like that because when my kids were little, kind of like it would freak them out a little bit. Frog's eyes. So that being in mind, keeping that in mind, I would think this would be a great dish to make for a Halloween party for the kids. Call it frog's eye salad. It's made with Ancini pasta, which is the little round pearl pastas that you usually see in like wedding soup. And then you add pineapple, maraschino cherries, mandarin oranges. You're gonna make a little bit of like a pudding from the juice of the pineapples, and then you mix in some Cool Whip with it at the end. And it is absolutely delicious. The little pastas kind of have a little chewy bite to it. It almost reminds me a little bit of like a tapioca, but it is pasta. So I'm gonna show you how to get started, and let's get cooking. Ancini pasta, and you'll need 2 cans of pineapple chunks in their own juice, the pineapple juice, not in the syrup. So 2 cans of that. I use 1 large jar of these, or 2 cans of mandarin oranges, 1 large jar of maraschino cherries, no stems, just the cherries. And if you can find a large Cool Whip, that's ideal, but they didn't have the large at the store today, so we're using 2 of the regular sized Cool Whips, which are, what does that say on there? 8 ounces. And you can use the regular Cool Whip, you can use the extra creamy. I prefer using the light because you really don't taste the difference, and I'm always about trying to save a little bit of calories somewhere, so you can use the light as well. I would not use fat-free, but just the light. Okay, so I've got a big pot of water that I've put to boil, and you want to add about a ½ teaspoon of salt to it. So we're going to bring that to a boil, and while that's coming to a boil, I'm going to drain the fruit that I'm going to be chopping up. So we've got our 2 cans of pineapple juice. The only juice you're going to use for the pudding part is the pineapple juice. So what I do is just flip it over, and I'm going to put all that pineapple juice into 1 bowl. And sometimes I'll add just a little bit of the maraschino cherry juice, which I'm going to do today because it gives it kind of a very light pink kind of color, which I like. And you're not going to use much. Oh, and of course, oh, good. It wasn't hard to get open. So I'm just adding a little bit of that. The rest of it, just going to drain down the old sink. Okay. After these are drained, I'm going to put them out on a little chopping board because we're going to chop those up into quarters. We'll also be chopping up the pineapple chunks and also the mandarin oranges. You want them to be in little bite-sized pieces. So let's get to the cherries. Just kind of quartering them. Cut it in half and then turn it and do those in half. Being very careful. Okay, so I've chopped up all the cherries and I'm just going to put all of those into a separate bowl. Now I will work on the pineapple. So you're just going to take your chunks, kind of cut those up into quarters as well. Doesn't have to be perfect, as long as you just kind of mush it up a little again. But again, be very careful while you're chopping. We don't want a bloody frog's eye salad, just frog's eye. Okay, so as I'm chopping up the pineapple, there's still a lot of juice in this pineapple. So what I will do is take this, you of course have washed your hands before you started this, and kind of squeeze all the juice out into that bowl with the juice, and then put that into the bowl of fruit that has been drained. And we've got a little bit more in here. I'm just gonna, oop. All right, let's go check our boiling water. Okay, so our water has come to a boil. I'm gonna take this bag, because these bags of pasta, if you don't cut it just right, those pastas go rolling all over the place. You find them for the next year. Okay, and that just went right into the water. Got that up. All right, so you dump the whole pound right into that boiling water. We're gonna give it, let me get one of these. Give it a good stir. Bring it back to a boil. And after it comes back to a boil, just turn it down to medium-low heat, and we're gonna put a cover on it. And you're gonna cook it for 8 to 10 minutes. I made this yesterday, and I did the 8 minutes because I wanted it to be al dente, but they weren't quite cooked. You want them to be a little plump, so that when you're eating it, you get a little bit of that chewy macaroni kind of feel in your mouth. All right, so I'm gonna time this for about 8 to 10 minutes. And when this is cooked, I'm just gonna drain it. Don't rinse it, just let it drain, and then we're gonna set it off to cool. Okay, so while our pasta's cooking, we've got one more fruit to chop up, and that's mandarin oranges. I'm going to actually set these aside and not mix them in with the other fruit, because my grandson is allergic to oranges. So I'm gonna check with my granddaughter, see if he can still have pineapple or cherries, but as far as I know, it's just oranges. So I'm gonna set aside a little bit of this for him that I could take over this week, and the rest of it for tonight. For our friends, I will put the mandarin oranges in. So as usual, this is supposed to peel off nice and easy, right? But no, they act like there's poisonous medicine in here or something. It's just oranges, but oh my God. Either that or I'm getting really old. All right, so I'm gonna drain this. Drain it real well. Has a way of holding some water in there. Okay, and then I'm gonna put these out on the chopping block. Get the rest of that water out. And I'm just gonna chop these up and put them in a separate bowl. Okay, our pasta is cooked, and that took the 10 minutes instead of 8, just letting you know that. So I'm gonna go over here and drain it. Let that drain really good. And then we're gonna let that cool off while I make the pudding, and I'll show you how to do that next. Look at this steam. All right, so I've got that in a fine mesh colander. I always put one underneath it just in case that were to tip over. I don't lose all my pasta down the drain. But we're gonna let that cool. And once it gets where it's not steaming anymore, I stick it in the fridge to let it cool a little bit more. Okay, here we're going to be heating up a medium saucepan, and we're gonna be making our pudding with the juice. So I've got my juice over here. Just pour that in. And you're going to cook this on medium-low. And you're going to add to the juice a half a cup of sugar, a half teaspoon of salt, and 2 tablespoons of flour, which I've got right over here. And I just whisk this all in until it's nice and smooth. And you're going to cook that until it starts to thicken. And once it starts to thicken, you take it off and you let that cool completely as well. So keep whisking it so that all of your ingredients have dissolved, including the flour. That's your thickening agent. And if you find it still doesn't look like a pudding consistency when you're done, you can always add a little bit more flour at the end if it looks too watery, because every time I do this, I get a little bit different amount of juice. Yesterday I had to add a little bit more flour, but I think this should be okay today. So keep that on medium heat, stirring frequently. Don't let it burn. All right, so this has been cooking for about 3-4 minutes, and you can see it's starting to get a little thicker. It's not as watery, and as it heats, it's going to get thicker. Almost there. At this point, we've got our pasta cooling. Takes a while. And we've got our fruit over here, the cherries and the pineapple. And I have put the mandarin oranges aside because I'm going to make some for my grandson without any oranges. Now it's just kind of coming to a light boil, and that's when you're going to see it significantly thickening up. Keep stirring it at this point so it doesn't burn. Now I've turned it down to the lowest heat, which is like a simmer. And let that bubble up a little bit more. It's not going to be as thick as pudding as you would buy, you know, in the store, but let me get a spoon and see if I can show you the consistency. So it's kind of like that. And as it cools, it's going to thicken up even a little bit more. All right. So we're going to take this off the heat and let that cool. Set that over there. Okay, our pasta has cooled down. I'm just going to transfer this over into the bowl. And I'm going to add my fruit without the mandarin oranges. Mix that up real good. It almost looks like couscous. Okay, and then we've got our pudding that is cooled off. Pour all that in there. And we'll mix that up real good. And then put this in the fridge to chill. Now, it may look just a little teeny bit soupy right now, but what's going to happen is when this chills in the refrigerator, it's going to absorb some of that pudding mix, and it'll thicken everything up real nice. And after it's very cool and chilled well, we will add our Cool Whip, kind of fold that in, and it will make it nice and fluffy. So I took some out and put it in a separate bowl for my grandson, and now I can add the rest of the fruit in with this bigger bowl. Cover this with some aluminum foil and chill it well. Okay, so this is all been chilled very well, and it's nice and thick now, and you can tell that the kind of, I call it a pudding, but it's, you know, it's not as thick as a regular store pudding. But this is ready to mix, and here's my little bowl for my little Landon. Of course, I'll bring some regular stuff for Presley. All right, so we've got our Cool Whip. Like I said, you can use the regular. I've got the light because you really can't tell the difference, and I'm always wanting to save some calories where I can. And you're basically gonna fold this in. You should be using a large Cool Whip, but since they didn't have that at the store, we bought 2 of the regular 8-ounce Cool Whips. And as you can see, it kind of makes it like a nice fluffy, it's like ambrosia, but better. Got one more Cool Whip to go. Good God. I swear to God, they make things now as if you are opening something poisonous. It's just Cool Whip. It's for my Landon, and this is for the rest of us. Okay, so you mix that up really good, and then you want to chill this a little bit more. But man, I'm telling you, this is so delicious. I just love the way that the pasta has just a nice chewy, even better than tapioca. Yum. So if you make this for a Halloween party for the kids, make sure you call it frog's eye salad, because it like freaks them out a little bit, but then they taste it and like, it's so good. All right, so that's what it looks like. Here's my Landons without any orange. Gotta mix them up for him. Now I'm gonna put a little bit in a bowl, and we're gonna give it a taste. Just to make sure, you know, that it's okay. Just saying. I love this. Love. My kids both love this. Here we go. It's perfect. We need our camera guy to taste them. All right, honey. I'm gonna turn the camera around on you now. You ready? Tell me what you think.
Very
Yum.
Good. Very good.
Love it, love it, love it. All right, so enjoy your frog's eye salad, and I hope to see you again next time for another good recipe from Logan Wells.